My new baking obsession are marble bundt cakes. It's something about having two flavors swirled together. Oh, when you bite into it, it creates this beautiful, flavorful medley right inside your mouth. Every bite is a new surprise. And I've already done a recipe mixing white chocolate and regular chocolate together to create this black and white marble sponge. I'll put the link right up above so you can check that one out. But you're going to want to stay right here because I'm about to make a red velvet marble cake. Oh, red velvet is one of my all-time favorite cakes, and inside of this marble sponge, it's just going to be so delicious right here on the sweet spot. So for this cake, it's pretty easy. We're gonna make one batter, and then we're gonna separate that batter and make one red velvet and keep one a regular vanilla sponge. So to start our recipe, I'm gonna take my flour and I'm gonna mix all my dry ingredients. So starting with my baking powder and my salt. The only dry ingredient you won't add at the beginning is the cocoa powder, because once we separate our batter, we're gonna add that in. And just take a whisk and mix it all until it's combined. So my dry ingredients are all mixed together. I set that aside because we're gonna use that a little later. Now it's time to start mixing our batter inside of our mixing bowl. So I'm gonna grab my butter, and you wanna grab your sugar. We're gonna start with these two as the base of our batter. So first I'm gonna add my butter to my mixing bowl. So you wanna get all of the butter in there. And then you're gonna mix this on medium until it's nice and creamy. All right, scrape down the sides of your bowl and get all of that butter off the sides and from around the paddle. Oops, doesn't want to go. All right, there we are. And now we're gonna add in our sugar. And you're gonna blend this once again on medium until the butter and sugar are creamed together. Now that that's done, we're gonna add in our eggs one at a time. And you wanna blend on medium in between each addition. All right, I'm gonna add in my last egg and blend that on medium. Now that my eggs are in, I'm gonna add in my canola oil. And my vanilla. And then, once again, on medium. It's time to start adding in our dry ingredients, rotate it with our buttermilk. So I'm just gonna add about a third of the flour. And let that mix on medium. Then I'm gonna add a third of the buttermilk. And then mix that once again on medium. All right, I'm gonna add the last bit of my flour. And then blend that on medium. All right, and then scrape down the sides of my bowl. Right. And then we're gonna take our last bit of buttermilk and we're gonna mix this on medium once again. So now you're gonna separate your batter. You're gonna take about 2.5 cups of the original batter and put into a separate bowl. Inside that batter, you're gonna add your cocoa powder. And then just whisk to combine. Now we're gonna add our vinegar and stir, and our red food coloring. That's another substance that you really want to take your time mixing in, because like cocoa powder, you do not want red food coloring all over you and the countertop. So slowly whisking until that combines and creates a nice red velvet color. Now that both of my batters are ready, I'm going to start alternating scooping in my batter into my bundt pan. And I'm going to start with my regular batter and just scooping in a little around the bottom until I get a nice coating. All right, now I'm going to switch and start scooping in red velvet just right on top. Back to my regular batter. Start rotating that back to the red velvet. Now that all my batter is layered, I like to wiggle and twist my pan a little bit. It actually helps settle the batter, and you can see it's starting to swirl by itself. All right, so everything's ready to go in the oven. I recently learned a pro tip when I was making my black and white marble cake. The tip is you do not preheat the oven for your bundt cake. Letting it sit in the oven as the oven comes to temperature allows your bundt cake to have a better rise. So I'm going to put this in the oven and then set it to 350 degrees. Now, because I'm starting with a cold oven, my cake will take a little longer to bake. So it'll be more on the 70-minute side versus the 60-minute side. So let's pop this in the oven. So I've taken the cake out of the oven. I allowed it to cool for about 30 minutes. Then I flipped it over onto a cooling rack, and I put a sheet pan underneath. So when I put my glaze over top, it doesn't spill everywhere. I have something to catch it. So now let's make our glaze. So I have a bowl here. I'm gonna start with my confectioner sugar. Then I'm gonna add in my 2 tablespoons of milk. And first, I'm going to whisk that together to create the base. And just keep whisking. At first it looked like just a pile of confectioner sugar, but the more you whisk, the more that sugar will turn into your nice vanilla glaze. So the recipe calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons. I put in 2 just to make sure I got a great consistency. So my confectioner sugar and my milk mixture is still a little too thick of a glaze. So I'm gonna add in the 3rd tablespoon to help loosen it up and give me the consistency I want. Now that's giving me the nice smooth vanilla glaze I want. All right, so now I'm gonna add in my vanilla and just whisk until the vanilla is nice and combined. So my glaze is done. I'm just gonna take a kitchen tablespoon and just drizzle that glaze right over my cake. And there's no special skill because the glaze will go over the cake naturally, creating a nice waterfall. Thank you once again for allowing me to share my passion, which is baking, with all of you. I hope you enjoy this red velvet marble cake recipe. It's a great cake to share with someone you love, friends, or something for yourself, because we all have to love ourselves. If you love this recipe, if you like what you saw here, click like, subscribe. There's more to come. Come right back here on The Sweet Spot.